to all my friends,
Ah,
but not an interview. So I think this will be better,
to
a little
launch
bit more
yourself to
relaxed.
films.
Yeah.
Is that like a formal introduction of you to your friends?
No, man, just to say what I've been doing for the last 4 months while no one's seen me and just to let people know what
Okay,
I'm doing.
you've gone AWOL. Yeah, exactly. All right, awesome. So let's get cracking here. So
Okie
welcome
dokie.
everybody. Welcome to our next student spotlight interview. I see quite a few of you guys have RSVP'd to join and watch the live broadcast. So super excited to have all of you guys here. So if you are watching live, please just give us a bit of a shout out and use the hashtag live to let us know that you're watching. And please remember to also just comment and like and share and love and do whatever you can on this whole thing to stimulate engagement so that it shows up in everybody's newsfeed, because we've got lots of good stuff to share. So today, very, very excited to have just an absolute rock star that's gone through our agency fast track program, Kat Donadell, who's got a very unique story to share with us in sort of her pre and post agency life, which I'm really excited to hear all about. And guys, I want to start encouraging you guys also, if you have any questions for Candace, please just pop it into the comment section, and then I'll try to pick it up as we go. How's it going, Michael? See, Edwin is also live over there. So yeah, guys, very, very cool to just see everybody live on here. So Candace, welcome, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Neil. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I was just telling all of you guys, it's telling Candace their background. It looks so calming. I feel like I'm in a Zen palace if I look at your background there. You look very peaceful, Candace.
Good, I'm glad. Yeah, this is one of our treatment rooms at my salon. So it's all about the Zen vibe and just making everybody happy. Yes.
I like it. So let's use that as a starting point. Tell people about your salon and about what you've been up to up until when you started an agency.
So basically, after school, I was forced to study something because my family didn't believe that I was going to do anything after school. So I had to study. They didn't let me leave school in standard 7 when I wanted to become a hairdresser. They said that I was too naughty and I wasn't going to succeed. So they made me finish matric.
Were they right about you being too naughty?
Yeah, totally. But I got all of that out of my system. And when I became my own boss, I became the complete opposite of how I was as an employee, which is actually a huge learning curve as well.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I've got a background in makeup and hairdressing, and I've also worked on the ships. And when I came back, I wasn't used to, trying to build up your clientele. So I went to work for a massive brand called L'Oreal. I was one of their educators. I worked for L'Oreal, Redken, and Curology doing their education. So I got to see the back end of how hair salons work. And I also realized that I was a terrible hairdresser in the sense that I would just come to work, do hair, and go home. I didn't really care about the fact that I needed to look after my clients, and I just didn't see the added value I could give to people. I just thought I had to retail. I didn't see past what was expected of me and what I could have done.
Okay.
So once I was with Redken and L'Oreal, I got a little bit bored of being in the corporate world. Being a creative, you do get a little bit stifled. And the opportunity came my way to open a salon. That was actually 9 years ago. On Tuesday, we celebrate 9 years being open.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I jumped into it without even thinking about it. It's actually the same thing I did with AFT, but we'll get there. I go with my heart. If I know that something feels right in my heart and my stomach, I go for it. And when I worked at L'Oreal, every time they spoke about business, I was like, I don't need to listen to this. I'm technical. I'm a color technician. I'll never need to know business. So I learned everything in my business the hard way. When you learn to be a hairdresser, you think you have like these bells and whistles and lights around the fact that you're going to be fully booked 3 months in advance and it's be so amazing and you're so popular. And I got there. I mean, that was, in the last 4 years, I got there. I was that person. And it was amazing because you develop incredible relationships with your clients, but I couldn't manage my business from behind the chair. And, I was fully booked from the minute I walked in till the time I left. I never took a lunch break. I hardly went to the toilet. And I became quite a bitch to my staff because I was frustrated. I couldn't run my business the way that I wanted to, and I was stuck. I didn't know a way out. And
in what way? Sorry, I need to pause you real quick. Like one of the things I was really excited about to interview is exactly this conversation, because as a business coach, prior to when I started teaching people about digital, I would see this all the time. Like people would come to me and it's like, Neil, I hate my life. I hate my business. Everything is wrong. Everything is broken. I was like, but hold on. Why did you become a hairdresser, for example? It's like, no, I love it. It's like, but where's the disconnect here? And it's often about how someone's business plans are different to how they thought it would and their day-to-day experience of it. So this is like a really cool topic for me. So when you say you were frustrated, it sounds like you were really busy. Like, I mean, if you were too busy to run the business because you were busy seeing clients, what was the frustrating part?
Well, I mean, you've got to give 100% to your clients because that's what they're paying for, and that's what's expected of you, and that's the reputation that you have.
Yes.
But you need to make sure that all your staff are also delivering because they're coming to your salon. They're not coming to Candace alone. Yes. And I just was frustrated because I didn't have the ability to train them like I wanted to. Okay. And if something went wrong, I would scream at them and then move on because that's how fast paced I was. And I just couldn't grow my staff, and they would last for a year and then leave. And I just couldn't understand why until I had a back injury in October last year. And in the 3 weeks that I was lying there paralyzed, I just had so many affirmations and realizations, and I realized that that's why. And, you know, it worked without me in those 3 weeks. I'd never let it alone. Yeah, it worked without me. My staff were amazing.
You had an amazing experience, though. Like, I mean, realizing that a lot of your entrapment was more perception than what it was real.
Yeah, totally. Totally. You also feel like nobody's going to give your service, well, the best service like you do. But if you're away from that, you can empower your staff and train them and show them how to make them more like you. So I had an amazing staff member that I've trained for 3 years, and she totally stepped up. She proved to me that it can be done. And if you just let go and take a step back, your business can run without you. And I think most hairdressers and most salon owners are stuck where I was. They really are. A lot of the salon owners that I know are still behind the chair. And I'm pretty sure they don't want to be anymore. To do it as a hobby, yes, but not because you're responsible of making the turnover for the whole salon. And that's what I thought. I thought because I was bringing in the turnover and I didn't have to pay a said commission to myself necessarily, I needed that turnover so that I could look after the business. Yeah. But having stepped away from that, it works, you know. And then with AFT under my belt, I mean, I don't have to go back behind the chair, even though my back's healed now. I don't necessarily have to go and slog behind the chair anymore.
So the vast majority of business owners that I come across are the exact same shoes what you were. They feel they are the business. And unless they themselves do something, it doesn't get done. It doesn't get done as well as what they do it. And I think that's why businesses often become very unsatisfying to people, because they feel like a bit of a prisoner in a way. And I think certain businesses are like that. But usually when I talk to people who are not in that position, I say to them, what changed? What happened? Was there an influx point? You can't believe how often people have told me I went to a medical issue and I couldn't work the way that I used to. And somehow when I stepped out, I only discovered that the thing can work pretty well without me. So it's actually quite interesting that you mentioned that, because I've actually seen that before.
100%.
So what happened? You say you had a back injury.
Yeah, I had a back injury that actually happened in the February, but because I was so busy, I was like, oh, it's just sciatica. It's just because I'm 40 years old now and it's just my job. And I just carried on until my holiday. And then when I went on holiday in the August, I could just feel my body wasn't recovering. And then after I got back from work 3 weeks in, I just bent over to pick something up and I had a spasm and I was completely paralyzed because I'd obviously left that injury for about 8 months. And then everything came to life.
So it kind of just compounded.
Yeah. Everything came to life. It was just before season. It was very, very hectic, you know. Not being able to do hair just before season, especially in Cape Town, is very traumatizing. But we managed.
It must have been agonizing lying there, like you can't work. You've got all this anxiety about what's going to happen to my business. I can't really kind of ride the wave on this entire season. Like, what was going through your mind at the time?
I was very stressed because I didn't know how anything was going to work. But Neil, honestly, if that didn't happen, I would probably still be in the same position. So my body needed to do that. My body had had enough and my mind just wasn't listening. So in that 3 weeks, I really learned a lot. I learned how to let go. And I'm still learning how to let go. And it's a really important thing that business owners need to know. And there's a difference between letting go and not caring anymore.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
There's a huge mindset shift, definitely. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, because I think when you start a business, you're the doer. And we almost pride ourselves, like, I'm the hardest working person. I'm going to be there first in the morning, latest at night. And it's cool in the beginning, you know, but the problem is we keep doing that for too long. And actually what happens, we end up disempowering our team members because it's so controlling, doing everything that they would love to do, but we just don't give them the space for that, really. And I think it's just a legacy of habits of how we started our business, if we keep on doing that. But that becomes exhausting, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, to the point where your body just doesn't want to get up anymore, literally.
Exactly. So you learned to let go during this entire process, and then you also observed how when you did, there was a positive payoff. Things actually started working. So tell me about the Candace that emerged 3 weeks after that. Like, what was your new mindset and the new paradigm within you started working that led you ultimately to change and to start learning these skills? Like, how did this come about?
Well, I was obviously going through some kind of a crisis, and your targeting on Facebook is definitely, you've got some way of checking the demographic for people that are going for a midlife crisis. I haven't figured it out yet, though.
I just have to tell my team, please catch this one, okay? We've got to start becoming more selective at our targeting, okay?
I just kept seeing your face over and over again, and that was for Facebook Marketing Mastery. And because I wasn't doing anything, I thought, you know what, let me just do this. It's always been something that's interested me. I've always loved the marketing aspect of business. And when I worked at L'Oreal, I really, really loved that. Opened up a whole new world for me.
Yeah.
So I signed up to do the course, but at the same time, I was also grappling to try and figure out what my future was going to bring me. I didn't know AFT existed. I didn't know that I could have an agency, and I was actually looking into permanent makeup. And I'd done microblading, and because of who I am, I was like, right, I'm going to do permanent makeup, but I want the best kits, I want the best products, and that was 65,000 Rand. So I had the 65,000 Rand sitting in my bank account, waiting. I did FMM. I started on it very, very slowly. And I obviously attended your live webinar. And you know what, without even thinking, and I knew you were going to sell me something. That's what's so crazy. When I did it, I thought this guy is going to sell me something, and I'm not interested. By the end of it, that's
the question.
Well, I saw the value that you could bring to my business, and without even thinking about it, I swiped my card, and that was a done deal. Then he sent me tickets to the live event, and I'm in Cape Town. So, yes, it was a free event, but I would have still had to pay for my tickets. And I didn't intend on going at all. And about 3 weeks before, I got the reminder in an email, and I was like, well, let me just go. He better not try and sell me FMM again, but let me just go. And I got hold of my stepfather that lives in Joburg, and he's quite shrewd with business, but he's not on Facebook at all. He's got an account, hardly looks at it. And we went to the live event, and we were on the edge of our seats for that whole 2 days. Like, we were absolutely inspired. And on day one, no, I think it was day 2, I actually had the biggest epiphany. And I just sat there and I was like, what are you doing? You want to be a permanent makeup artist. So in order to be successful, you're going to be fully booked. And now you're not even going to have control of the salon. You're going to be locked in a room, one-on-one with a person that is anal about their face. Like, no, you don't have the patience for this anymore. Take that money and just invest it with Neil. So when at the end you told us about the package that was available, I think I was one of the first people that paid the deposit so that I could get the phone call. Yeah, awesome. I laughed at Moorman when he did his interview, because he said it took him 3 years. It took me 3 seconds, honestly. Awesome. I knew that this was the way forward, and that's what I needed to do. and no regret.
Yeah, I think you've had a lot of soul searching that you did about your life and about your business. So you probably had the ability to really contrast, to say, what is it that I do want to venture into and what do I not want to venture into? And so you're probably in a position where you kind of did a lot of that initial introspection, that kind of gets a person ready to do some kind of a transition. So with that said, I'm curious about something, Candice. Your main reason for jumping into this, was it more to grow your existing company, or was it actually to go into running an agency? Like, well, what was your primary thing? It was probably a combination of both, but I'm curious, what was your driving motivation at the time?
Well, a year ago, I actually decided I wanted to sell my business, and
Okay.
one of my clients was a beautician, and she was looking to actually buy a business. So I approached her, and her dad is an amazing life coach, and he sat down with me and he said, "You're making an emotional decision. Why don't we go into partnership instead of just letting it go? So you've got less responsibilities." So that's what we did a year ago. So primarily it was to help, when I joined AFT, it was to help grow her business as well as mine. And maybe 3 weeks into the course, I realized that this is what I wanted to do. I also landed up in Thailand
Yes.
on the most hectic part of the course. And I kept saying to you guys, what is happening between week 3 to 5? And you never answered my question. And when I was in Thailand, I was like, okay, I know why. Because I probably would have canceled the course or canceled my trip.
Exactly.
So when I was in Thailand and I was on that beach and my feet were in the sand and I had my laptop, I realized that is the lifestyle that I want to experience. Maybe not forever, but that is what I want to experience. And I want to experience it now while I'm young and I don't have a walker and I'm not 80 years old and I have all the money in the world. I want it now.
Dude, that is so, like, do you know what a big thing is what you just said? Tim Ferriss, I don't know if have you read The 4-Hour Workweek?
Yes.
Yeah, so Tim Ferriss in this book, in case you guys haven't read it yet, I recommend you read this book. And he talks about, he wrote this book in 2006, which is quite a seminal piece of work, actually, because he introduced us into this thing of virtual living and outsourcing and laptop lifestyle and that kind of thing. But he put a lot of form to it. He's a very practical meat and potatoes guy. And he talked about this concept. It's always stuck with me. It's called the deferred life plan. To tie into what you're saying there, Candice, is that he says that our strategy for life is to defer a good life. Like, we're going to work for 40 years and then one day we're going to retire and then we're going to enjoy the beaches, right? The problem is, by then, most of us, you're either dead, you're perpetually grumpy, or you're broken, like something in your body just doesn't function anymore. And, and you see a lot of that. I always joke these, in our complex here, in our golf estate, you see, there's a couple of guys who drive these Ferraris and so on, but you can see they're like later in life and they look freaking miserable. It's too late. They can't enjoy those cars anymore. You know what I mean? Like, they spent a lifetime being grumpy. So this deferred life plan basically says that we're going to defer lifestyle until one day. And it often doesn't happen. So his contention is, no, live while you're living, while you're working. And so it's so interesting that you mentioned that. So you were sitting in Thailand on the beach saying, no, let me not defer this. Let me actually do this while I'm living, So that's actually quite cool.
Exactly. And even though it was the most technical, and I did cry every day, I won't lie. I was so frustrated. But I was like, this is it. This, just never mind the frustration. You've got your feet in the sand and you've got the ocean next to you. And whenever I was frustrated, I just went and I had a dip in the ocean. And I decided then and there, that's what I wanted. And Neil, you don't know this, but this is the laptop that I traveled with. All my technical work was done on this little baby. It's tiny. So, yeah, I learned
that was your office. That was your office for the time. You were sitting with this beautiful background, sitting with your feet in the sand, and you've got your laptop there, and you're grafting really hard, but you're realizing you're working in a place that's beautiful. So that's when it really dawned upon you that this can be your business. This can actually be your business life.
Definitely.
Nice. Yeah. So talk about because the thing is, you can kind of conceptually understand like stuff like that, but there's a point where it sinks in at a deeper level where you like really get it, isn't it?
Yes. And I must say, Neil, you've also been amazing in the sense that I mean, I'm very, very esoteric, and I believe that money will come and that I'll always be okay. But you've really helped me deal with it in a practical way. You've given me real practical ways of taking what I already know and implementing it in my life. And I just want to say thank you for that, because
you're welcome.
It's really been amazing, an amazing journey with you.
Yeah, it's another fascinating topic, you know, is I also am, one part of my brain is very metaphysical, you know, like I do believe in the power of attraction. I do believe that what you think about, you bring about. And I believe that what you associate yourself with is what manifests, and what you focus on expands. You know, those concepts I live. And at the same time, I also see that some people bank on that as a strategy. And I've never, ever seen anybody that's read The Secret and sits there visualizing night and day that they're going to create wealth, that actually create wealth. Okay, like you've got to get off your ass and do something, you know. And that's where the pragmatist in me comes in. You know, that's where I'm like very meat and potatoes about things. And I think what I've noticed, I always say to people, the reason why you're earning what you're earning, yes, it maybe has to do with your mindset, but more often than not, it's got to do with your industry. It's got to do with a more practical matter. You know, some industries can't make money. Some businesses can't expand beyond the owner. You know, sometimes the way we're running a business just can't do well. So we need to look at things very practically. And that's one of the things I love about this industry, is that it just ticks so many boxes in terms of sustainable income, in terms of low overhead, low risk, location independence, time independence, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's got downsides, make no mistake. It's not like, you know, it's a free ride, but it just presents so many opportunities that you don't find in traditional businesses, you know, and that's why I'm so excited about it. But to just come back to the point that you made is that, yeah, I definitely try to be very practical when it comes to money or when it comes to business. So really glad that added value to you. That's really cool. So tell me now, so you kind of like a couple of weeks post-graduation, you literally just like signed off. You just finished this whole marathon. So tell us about some of the highs and some of the lows. So I know the one thing is you were in Thailand for how long? You were there for 3 weeks or something, hey?
Almost 4 weeks, yeah.
Wow.
4 weeks while we were learning all the technical.
Your husband must be like, I thought we're coming on holiday. Yes, Candace sitting like learning about funnels and learning about.
Do you know what? He was actually so happy, because normally I'm the one like, what are we doing today? Where are we going to go? What are we doing? And he was like, Candace, we're going to go to our favorite beach. You just focus on work and I'm going to focus on relaxing, which is exactly what he did. So although he was supportive, he was probably so happy I had something to occupy myself with while we were away.
Yeah, you could just stand back and read a book and like smell the roses.
Exactly. And I was like, you're reading all these cool novels and I've got to read like 4 books and I have to learn stuff from. This is not fair.
Yeah, it's awesome. So so you were actually, I was really impressed, by the way. I have to tell you this. I was like, that's commitment for you right there, you know, because you probably like worked yourself to death for like 10 years. And now finally you've got this holiday that you've been looking forward to. And here you are like powering through, doing your week by week assignments. And you must have had internet access as well, because I know that's a bit of a challenge for people in Thailand often. Our funnel builder, Will, he's actually in Thailand at the moment. So every now and again, it's like, Neil, I've got terrible reception now. So it's really cool that you went through it. But tell us tell us maybe some highlights or lowlights of the journey. How was it for you going through this whole thing?
I think one of the most hectic lows was in Thailand. It was the night before. We were supposed to launch our campaigns at Monday at 4 a.m. in the morning, and I worked probably until 2 o'clock my time. We're 5 hours ahead of South Africa. So I was like, oh, I'm ahead because I've got all this time. And I worked till 2 o'clock in the morning my side, and I had everything going. And when I woke up the next morning, even though it's 5 hours ahead, the campaign should have been running and nothing was happening. And I, for the life of me, couldn't figure out what was going wrong. We paid for breakfast at the hotel. At 5 to 10, my husband was like, well, we're going to miss breakfast. I had to leave everything, go for breakfast, came back. And then I actually realized that what I'd done was I'd set the time for Los Angeles, which was 9 hours behind where we were. So it was only going to kick in 9 hours time from what I thought. So that was quite hectic for me because I didn't understand where I'd gone wrong. And I was so excited to launch everything. And I felt like I'd spent so much time making it perfect. But the lesson in that was that it's technology and it's never going to be perfect. And you just have to accept that and ride with it. Otherwise, this isn't the job for you. You've just got to accept that technology is going to give you a hard time. And with the internet, Wi-Fi was terrible at all the hotels, but it was free. So I just went and I bought a SIM card, and I think I paid like $500 for 15 gigabytes. And it was so fast that by the time I got back to South Africa, I was like, why is the internet so slow here? So I had great internet speed there, but yeah, technology messed with me quite a bit. But, you know, the videos are so helpful, especially when you're integrating all of those platforms, like buying your domain name, then integrating that through Cloudflare, then integrating that through ClickFunnels, then integrating that through MailChimp. And I didn't want to ask for support. I wanted to just figure it out myself.
Oh, really?
So I didn't actually clock one support call in all the time that we did the call.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you're like a real little diehard. Eh? You're like, just go for it. I'm gonna like master this thing on my own.
Exactly. So I did it, and I'm a hairdresser, for goodness sake, and I can now integrate MailChimp with ClickFunnels and GoDaddy, and it's just incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Right?
Although that was a low, it was also high at the same time because I was able to master it. And because I was doing stuff for my own business, I practiced doing a few more funnels after that. So at some point in the course, when you said to everyone, oh, you guys are going to have to build a funnel now, I was like, oh, I know how to do that. That's all right. It's all good. Yeah.
So Candace, I want to ask you a bit of a philosophical question. I notice a lot of people, almost like at an emotional level, they feel like they're behind on digital. It's like it feels daunting to them, the idea of understanding it. What does it even mean? Because, you know, I mean, you can't open Facebook without seeing, oh, robots are taking over the workplace, or AI is going to replace call center agents, or virtual reality. And there's this new thing. Well, like we're being bombarded by messages about how sexy digital is and how this whole world is digital and how everything is digitized. But the more we see that, the more we like think, well, what the hell does it mean? You know, like crap, how do I do it? You know, and I feel a lot of people feel almost a sense of anxiety about digital as just a subject. And then a lot of that starts changing when they start understanding that space. Like, can you relate to any of that? How did you feel about this whole digital landscape prior to going this journey?
Well, I always thought that I was quite tech savvy until I started this course.
Okay. So tech wasn't something that necessarily kind of scared you. You felt that you were actually fairly with it, but then, yeah, sort of a new world opened up as you went through this.
Yeah, but I think digital's such a big word. You know, I think even when I tell people that I do digital marketing, I lose them straight away. So, you know, the fact that you say we should call ourselves client acquisition experts is way better, because that opens the conversation. We can talk more about what we do. When we say digital marketing, it's like, oh, okay, I don't know about that, so I'm not going to ask her any more questions. So digital is very overwhelming. All the women in my family, my mom and my gran, are like, we hate computers, we don't want to deal with them. So there are people that are very daunted by digital. It's just a case of getting to their level and explaining to them on their level. So if they don't know how to open a Facebook account, just show them how to open a Facebook account.
Yeah. So tell me something. The ability that you've acquired now is the ability to find clients for people. And that's really what business owners are looking for, right? They want to grow their companies. And that's the skill set that you've now really sort of acquired. You've gone through a really intense process to get there. And this is my second, it's not really a philosophical question, but it's more your own personal experience. I notice a lot of people feel different about life. They feel different about themselves afterwards. And I think the fact that they can start an agency now as a part of it, but it goes deeper than that. It feels to me like for a lot of people, it's a very personal process that they've actually gone through. Why do you think that is? Do you think it's just because it's that hard to go through the whole program, or what is your take on it? What is your feeling on it?
Sure, I think there's many different levels. You know, first, when we sign up, you have a 45-minute chat with us to see if we're the right fit. And I think there you kind of make your assumptions as to whether we're going to make it or not. And the same with us when we're having the chat with you. Yeah. Then with the launch of when we actually start, we have 2 days with you guys, and you tell us how difficult it's going to be and that we are going to have to change our lives, and we have to set aside 4 to 6 hours a day You said 4, but I say 6. You have to set that aside. And if you can't do it, then you're not going to make it. And you said if you fall behind by 2 weeks, you're not going to be able to make it. So we had the support every week. We had the conversation for 2 hours in our Q&A. We had our coaches. We had the support available to us. And also, I think I just took comfort in knowing that 2 groups had done it before me, and they generally all passed. So if they could do it, why can't I? Yeah. So that kind of is what really motivated me to get through it. And you wouldn't have put a program together that wasn't achievable.
Sure.
So that's kind of what kept me in line, is that I just knew people had done it before, and also just seeing all the success stories of everybody that had completed the stuff.
Yeah, that's very encouraging, isn't it?
Yeah. And the Facebook group as well. You just know that everyone else is also struggling, you know. So you're not the only one that's having problems, even if they're a different level of problem.
So was there a point in the program where it got easier? We felt like, was there like one day it was like, damn, I'm actually getting this thing and it's actually starting to become easier. Like I've got a bit of forward momentum. Was there a moment like that?
Yeah, totally. It's when Richard Ingram started doing the Google training, and obviously he's also Cape Townian, so it was like really chill. There were lots of lessons, but they were really short. And I kind of got into that rhythm, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. We're coming to the tail end. And then you came back for those last 3 weeks, and I was just like, whoa, okay. I forgot Neil was coming back. So, yeah, I thought it had gotten easier for 3 weeks, and then the last 3 weeks, it wasn't easy anymore. It was just
that's why everybody loves Richard so much, is because he simplifies things, and his curriculums are easier than mine.
But, you know, like you say, it's not called Agency Fast Track for nothing. And most of the people that are doing this course have jobs, or they are entrepreneurs. Their life requires them, and you can't spend more than 16 or 18 weeks on it, because then it becomes too long in the year. And exactly. 16 weeks actually sounds better than 4 months. If I'd known 4 months, 4 months sounds longer than 16 weeks.
Sounds more than 4. Okay, so that sounds good. Okay, cool. We'll keep that. Team, take notes. Look, there's a point where I think your it's quite interesting. They say that people's natural concentration starts shifting after about 12 weeks. That's why you do quarterly planning in a business. I was telling my team this the last 2 days. We just did quarterly Q4 planning, and a lot of science has actually shown this, that after about 3 months, people's concentration starts shifting a little bit, you know, and to do something this intense for much longer than that would be very difficult. So I think it's the right time frame to do it. So now that you guys have graduated, you like were out of the starting blocks, like, bah, you like chose a niche immediately. A lot of people sit on us. It's like, should I, shouldn't I, shouldn't I? And then I'm like, dude, look at your practice clients. How you shot the lights out with this industry. Why don't you just go for it? It's like, I don't know. Like, you had clarity. Like, I'm going to do hair. Like, you had such clarity about it. And I've just loved how you've gone for it. But also, you partnered up with Edwin, how did that happen? It was quite fortuitous that you guys went to the same program at the same time.
Well, Edward was always quite helpful in the group, and a couple of things that I didn't really want to ask on the group because maybe I felt that they'd been asked, or I felt silly. I just kind of private messaged Edwin every time that I had a question, and he was just so helpful, and we got on really well. And he just said, maybe after this we should look at working together. And I was like, yes, definitely.
I love that.
So without even thinking again, that's what I do. But we decided to partner up, and then when I came up to see you guys for Digital Marketing Mastery, I planned a little bit I planned to come ahead of time, and I just said to Edwin, let's just get together and just see what we can do. And we didn't know each other from a bar of soap. I mean, we had a couple of chats on Facebook, and we just did it. We got together, we had coffee, we just got on the camera, and we just started talking about what we've learned, and we really had magic together. He's got no hair.
I was just going to say, like, how does he choose hairdressers as a result of his golden locks, right?
Yeah, so we kind of need each other. So we were running around shopping centers, standing in front of salons to make it more authentic, and then we nearly got arrested because we didn't realize we weren't allowed to do that. So we had quite an adventure. So we had quite an adventure, and we've put a lot of good work together. I mean, Edwin's laid down all of the foundations now for us.
Wow. Nice.
Everything that we've learned from you, we've pretty much implemented this week.
Awesome.
So we're very, very excited. And again, I've got quite a few connections. I know a lot of salon owners.
Yeah, exactly. You are connected in the industry, which is going to be very advantageous for you.
Yeah, the know, like, and trust factor.
Who don't know Edwin has the record in our business for the lowest cost per lead that I've ever seen. But I do want to make a complete confession here. Like, I've been so busy that I may be missing other people's success stories in the group. So from what I've seen, I should maybe qualify it like it. But Edwin generated leads for hairdressers for like under $1. I think like he had one campaign where he got like 74 Rand a lead. And I was sitting there, and I've never confessed this to anybody, but like I would not be able to do that, honest to God. Like, if someone had to say to me, go and fetch hairdressing leads at 74 cents a lead, I would be like, nah, not doable. But he did it. So it's actually really cool that you guys partnered up, because he crushed it with his hairdressing funnel. And I know you also did it really well. So you guys like combined forces. You guys are going to like completely dominate that industry, I'm pretty sure.
Exactly. And I also just thought, nobody's done it yet. I know a couple of students said they were going to, but nobody kind of persevered with it. And I understand why, because hairdressing owners, like we discussed earlier, are a little bit, they don't know digital like we understand digital. Yes. And to be honest, if somebody had come to me and said, give me 15 grand and I'm going to bring you clients, I would have been like, are you crazy? That doesn't make sense. But now that I know what I know, it's 15 grand is a drop in the ocean, because the results that you can produce for hair salons. And I think it's the quickest results, one of the quickest industries to get results for.
Oh yeah. Look, everybody that tackles hairdressers as practice clients and I mean in our program, you've seen it. I mean, it's almost like it's low-hanging fruit, But it's quite interesting, Candace. We do notice that industries come with almost prevailing mentality. So like a lot of guys just try to crack photographers, for example. I know Sean is busy watching, and Sean's gone after wedding photographers. But we've had some guys try to crack it, and they're really good at producing results for them. But they found a lot of the guys were very disorganized, they're not good business people, and it would take forever to get them to get feedback, and they're not used to spending money on marketing and that kind of stuff. So in your case, it could be that in South Africa, there may be a little bit more of a warming process you've got to take the hairdressers through before they're ready to kind of jump on board. And that's where it's quite fun to figure out each industry has its own little combination, of marketing strategies you need to run them to before they're actually ready to buy from you. So probably it's just a matter of a little bit of education that you need to take the guys through before they're actually ready for that strategy call with you, so that they can actually, but a lot of that's going to come down to case studies. I think the more hairdressers you guys add, the more testimonials you've got, the more case studies you build that you can run these guys through, the easier the sales job becomes. Because after a while, it's like, it's like, I've got to do this.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's also why we did all of our short videos, because it was all about educating them, like the power of a pixel, how important a pixel is. Yeah. So many salons are like, yes, no, we're boosting all our posts. We're doing that. We're doing what you're doing. And you're like, okay, how much are you paying? 11 grand. What are you getting for that 11 grand? Oh, I don't know. Well, have you looked at your page? You have a post this week and you're paying 11 grand for what?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely believe it's a good market to go, and also because nobody else has cracked it, joining forces with Edwin and just making sure we secure it before any of your other students decide to go in there. So we have to just get it now while it's still hot.
It's been the biggest point of fascination for me to look at all these guys. It's like, woo, look at what I'm doing. My hairdressing client, I'm crushing it. I'm generating leads for them. They're calling me to say switch off their campaigns. And then at the end of the program, we're like, what niche are you going after? They're like, I'm not sure. It's like I start thinking and procrastinating. I'm like, didn't you just nail it with hairdressers? Like, wouldn't that be the most logical thing to go after? I've never understood it. So I'm really pleased you guys are going for it. Very, very cool. So how do you guys feel? It sounds to me like you're very confident going into this. I mean, do you feel ready? Do you feel prepared? Do you feel that you've got the skills to go nail this?
100%. Yes, definitely. Do you want to hear some of my stats from my salon?
Yes, tell me.
Okay, so my business partner, when I was in Thailand, I was like, you have to start writing blogs. I can't do all of this by myself. And she was really cool. She was very supportive, and she wrote a blog. I know you said a blog's 2,000 words, but maybe in a different industry, because what I realized is the ones that I wrote were quite long. They were in the 1,500 to 2,000 words. But her blog was really simple. It was like 12 ways to look after your nails and feet, cracked heels and feet at home.
Okay.
It was maybe 12 points for each thing.
Okay.
And we are paying, I think it started at 75 cents per landing page view. Now we're paying 43 cents.
Wow.
So, yeah, to date, we've had 4,900 landing page views.
Sure.
We've had a reach of 82,500. So reach is obviously for people that have seen the advert.
Yes,
and then the impressions have been 138,000. So that's how many times the blog has been seen.
Yeah. So it's about 2.5 times per person that they've seen it. Nice. That's good frequency. Yeah.
And then we also had a conversion campaign. I just don't have my stats. Oh, it was R3.39 per lead that we paid.
Wow.
And then just to let you know, I won't talk about leads and everything, but 50 people came in. They spent about 180 Rand on average.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was like 10,000 Rand. The ad campaign only cost 2.5 grand. And the lifetime value per client is going to be 32 grand per year.
So talk to me about this real quick. So you generated, so what was your offer? So you say you got 50 people that came in, the average spend was $180. What was your offer that you used for your funnel?
So we had two warming contents. We had the blog about how to take care of your nails. And then there's a new nail polish that has been launched, which is a halal nail polish for Muslims, because Muslim people can't paint their nails. Huh. So we put a blog on. I didn't even write the blog. I just used someone else's blog and I gave them the credit, but I ran it through our site. And then through that, we had the conversion campaign, which is a half price pedicure. So 150 Rand instead of 300 Rand. And then also the option to pay 99 Rand for a mini manicure instead of 170 Rand. So through that, we got 165 leads. 50 people have come in so far. Most of them also did the manicure. So I just ran it at 180 Rand average. Okay. And that landed up being 9,480 Rand from the people that have come in so far. And she only paid 2,500 Rand for that advert.
So you've already shown a 400% ROI on the front end, but that's not even people that repurchase. So are you able to look back and say how many of those 50 people are returning, or is it still a little bit early in that cycle?
You know, it's so funny that you say that, because I remember on the course you said that it's all about mathematics. And I was like, how is digital and mathematics? That doesn't make sense to me. But you said that 35% of leads will always come in, and of that 35% of that will become permanent clients or lifetime clients. And it's pretty much spot on. 35% of the leads have come in, and 35% of those people have returned already. We've got a lot of established clients now from that. I mean, that was 2 months ago already.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So your front end offer, you're seeing 400% ROI on, and the real money lies in the back end. That's always the case. So already out of those 50 people, you've got 15 or so that are returning clients, and that's really how you end up building the businesses. You know, you have offers that are self-liquidating or profitable. Ideally, 400% ROI on your first front end is phenomenal, but the real money is in the back end. So I mean, your ROI on this campaign is just going to be ridiculous. It's going to be like So that's power. That's amazing. Well done on that. Very, very proud.
Another good one that we did once we've taken them now through the upside the model. So we retargeted everyone that we did blogs. It was a 650 Rand deal. So it was 3 different things you could do. That I kind of had to tweak, because I tried to give the offer on one page, but I had to make it into 3 separate adverts. So one was for a root tint, a treatment, and a blow dry. The other was for a quarter highlights, treatment, and a blow dry. And then the other was for Brazilian keratin treatment. And Facebook also kept banning me from that advert, because they were saying that I said Brazilian people had frizzy hair. It's just the name of the treatment.
They're very sticky with anything that could,
Okay. Anyway, so I split that into 3 different ad groups, so it worked better.
Yeah.
That was a little bit more expensive, but I mean, considering what they're coming in and spending, that's just because I'm used to, £2.25. So it was about 45 Rand per lead, but we got 45 leads from that. 25 have come in so far. So if you do 25 times 650, it's already 16,250 Rand.
Amazing.
And that's just the front end. The lifetime value is 10 clients that come back that spend 10 grand a year. So it's 100,000 Rand from 10. And I'm being really, I'm not being generous at all.
You're being conservative, if anything, because I mean, people like your vibe and they like your salon and they like the experience. So in all probability, much more will come back. So you're definitely going on the low end in terms of your prediction. So
exactly. But I mean, just from spending 2,000 Rand, in 3 years, we've got a lifetime value just for 10 clients of 300,000 Rand. So, I mean, from spending 2,000 Rand, it's amazing.
That's like insane. And you know the problem with these numbers is they are so good that they sound almost like, you know what I mean? It's like, so it is it's something to wrap your mind around, to just like realize how profitable it can be. Because I find a lot of people battle to figure out, but how can you do so well for clients on such little ad spend? Shouldn't it require a lot more ad spend? And I say no, the client pays for the expertise that allows you to spend a small amount of money. That's where it should go, to go into you, not into the ad spend, because the guys who don't know what they're doing, they compensate for the incompetence by a lot of ad spend. All the money goes into the PPC campaigns and little into the expertise. So I guess you get paid what you're worth, in this space as well.
100%.
So, real quick, you seem really excited about this space. What do you find so exciting about it? It looks to me from the outside that it's like this discovery of yours and that you really enjoy it. What about it you find so enjoyable?
I think also just because I came from a place of feeling trapped in my life and feeling like there was nowhere out, and then just being able to stand back and provide clients for my staff. I mean, that's the main reason why a staff member will leave a hair salon, is because they're not busy enough. So they'll go somewhere else, or they'll go and work in a mall because they have to, and they have to build up their clientele, and then they'll go to a smaller salon. So just to be able to provide clients for my staff is amazing. And I want to be able to help other salons. I want to be able to help salons grow, because there's a salon in every corner, in every city. And
how many hairdressers are there in this country?
More than you can imagine. More than you can imagine.
Thousands, right?
And half of them are all standing outside smoking cigarettes because the boss is busy doing all their hair.
Exactly. So enter your agency. So I'm really, really amped for you and for everyone. I think you guys are going to absolutely nail it. How long are you guys going to be focusing on South Africa before you take this abroad?
We are taking it abroad at the same time. We're sticking our fingers out. Luckily, between myself and Edwin, we've got 4 testimonials already on our Facebook page.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Are you running those testimonials as campaigns to your target market?
We've got, I think, 1 or 2 of them running as like a paid video ad. Yeah, or video views, paid video views.
Run all 4 of them. So once you've got your audiences dialed in, what I suggest you guys do is you run a multi-layered campaign. So you can run, for example, 1 or 2 blog articles on a traffic objective, and then you can run all 4 of those videos, put them in one ad set, and then Facebook will automatically start rotating those as a video view, and let them just see it all the time, because that stuff is that's like persuasive. That's what gets people to buy ultimately. A lot of people who buy agency fast track, the first what they start with is like, I couldn't get rid of you. You've been stalking me for like ever. And I was like, I know, I got your name somewhere and I put you on a list. And it's like, find that one, So I think it does work like that to a degree, where you need to have that omnipresence. And then after a while, people are like, geez, this is a no-brainer. I've got to start talking to these guys. So use those assets. Those things are power.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's just amazing how, I mean, you can spam people and you can phone them and you can be in their faces. Facebook and Google and social media just has a different effect, because people don't realize that it's there on purpose. They just think it's a coincidence, Oh my gosh, mirrors is everywhere. Oh, the salon's so amazing. You see it everywhere.
The best is when people have been on your funnel page on your website, and now they start seeing your banner ads on GDN, and now they start seeing you on Facebook, and it's like, wow, these people really are everywhere. It's like, yes, I'm everywhere for you, you know. That's really
I
cool.
even got excited with my Google display ads because I live within 3 kilometers from my salon, and I was researching some scalp condition. And then all of a sudden there was my advert. So I was like dancing around the lounge because it was quite a long article, and it must have been there about 6 times after each paragraph. There we were. And I was like, yay, this is amazing. It's like magic. It's incredible. It really is. It's such a powerful, powerful medium to use. I'm so grateful. Yeah, I'm so grateful that I met you guys, and that I just took a leap of faith, and I've not looked back, and I'm only looking forward, and I'm just so proud to be part of your team and to have you as a coach. You've really been amazing for me. And every week, I look so forward to our Q&As because I just feel so inspired every time that we chat. So thank you for that, Neil, really.
Welcome. Yeah. And it's such a nice community as well, isn't it? It's just all the students kind of getting to know one another, and our support team. And it's a really lovely community of people, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. Just need more people in Cape Town now.
Yeah, exactly. So we are having a massive party this month, I believe. When is it? It's on the 19th. We're going to do graduation dinner.
16th. If you come on the 19th, you'll be alone.
Yeah, exactly. So we're all taking leave the following day because we're going Hollywood or bust on this party, because you guys worked so hard as a group to do this whole thing. I mean, it's like people really don't realize it, and to be honest, I don't really want them to realize it before the time I do, but also don't want them to. But it's a massive accomplishment. I mean, to sail through this whole thing, to say that you completed it, you've done it, and you succeeded, and that kind of stuff. It's a hell of a big accomplishment. So you guys are going to be. We're going to be celebrating some very, very well-deserved achievements here as a group. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be very special.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah,
and this course really does build your character. You know, a couple of times I wanted to email you guys on the Sunday and go, okay, I'm sorry, I can't do this assignment. I'm not doing it. And then I was like, no, you have to do this, Candice. You committed to it. Whether you fail it or not, you have to do it. And I managed to complete all the assignments.
You're like, oh, I wish someone else would say I'm not doing it, because then I can also say it, but like nobody said it.
Exactly.
Yeah, awesome. Candice, you're an absolute legend. You're a rock star. Thank you so much for joining us on this interview, and well done. Just really proud of you, and I think that you've done incredible work, and I just love where your heart's at. You know, you really want to make a difference to other salon owners, and you want to make a difference to your team, and you really want to pay it forward, and I think your energy and enthusiasm for the space is really infectious. So I've got no doubt you guys are going to absolutely nail it with your new business, and I'm very excited to follow your progress. So thank you once again. Thank you for your time, and for all of you guys watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know if you enjoyed the interview, what you take out of it. And yeah, if you guys are watching the replay, just use #replay and give us a bit of a shout out here in the news feed. And then, yeah, Candice, we look forward to interviewing you real soon to look at the progression of your agency.
Thanks so much, Neil. Look out, world. We're coming. DigiMagick's coming for you.
DigiMagick. Go, baby. All right. Thank you later. Have a good one. Ciao, guys.
Bye. Bye-bye.